Imagine you Ray sitting inside the British Parliament in 1605. You Ray surrounded by some of the most powerful people in England, the king, the ministers, the nobles. They're all there plotting and scheming, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, the building erupts in a massive explosion. Boom, the king, ministers, and nobles are all gone in an instant. This actually almost happened. And the man who plotted it was a mysterious soldier named Guy Fawkes. Let me tell you his story. They searched every corner and found him with his hand on the fuse, surrounded by barrels of death. Bonfires were lit, fireworks were shot, and effigies of Guy Fawkes were burned. It was the talk of the town. The conspirators were arrested and taken to trial. Because it's a reminder of how fragile our world is. And remember the lessons it teaches us about the dangers of extremism and the importance of tolerance and understanding. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more. A single spark can ignite a powder keg and change everything. It is a reminder of the power of fear and the lengths to which people will go to protect themselves. And it's a reminder that even the most powerful people in the world are not invincible. They, too, can be brought down by a single, determined individual. They were charged with high treason, and the punishment was severe. Robert Catesby, the leader of the group, was killed in a skirmish with the authorities. Thomas Wintour, one of the key members, was executed in gruesome fashion. He was hanged, drawn and quartered, meaning he was hanged until almost dead, then disemboweled and cut into 4 pieces. His heart and lungs were hung up in chains as a warning to others. At that moment, Guy Fawkes knew there was no escape. He had been caught red-handed. And when they examined the gunpowder, they realized just how close England had come to disaster. If Guy Fawkes had lit the fuse, the entire Parliament would have been blown to smithereens. King James I would have been dead along with hundreds of nobles and ministers. England's future could have been altered forever. In the early 1600s, England was torn apart by religious conflict. The people were divided between Catholics and Protestants, and King James I, the ruler of England, was a strict Protestant. He was tortured brutally. But he refused to give up the names of his fellow conspirators. Eventually, he confessed everything and revealed the names of those involved. They were arrested and executed. One by one, the Catholics were fed up with being persecuted. They were banned from practicing their religion. Then he waited. Weeks turned into months, and the plotters prepared for their attack. They knew the king would attend Parliament on November 5, 1605. Everything was perfect, but then disaster struck. One of the conspirators sent a mysterious anonymous letter to a nobleman warning him not to show up at Parliament that day. The nobleman took the threat seriously and informed the authorities. Suddenly, the plot was in danger. They were fined, tortured, and even executed for their beliefs. And 5 desperate men came up with a deadly plan to overthrow the king and replace him with a Catholic monarch. They would kill the king and take over England in a single, earth-shattering explosion. Their plan involved blowing up the Houses of Parliament where the king and ministers conducted business. And to make this happen, they needed a lot of gunpowder, 36 barrels of gunpowder to be precise. And to smuggle the gunpowder into the building without anyone noticing, they needed someone special, someone who could blend in, someone who was nobody. Enter Guy Fawkes, a mysterious soldier who joined the plot and became the explosives expert. He smuggled the barrels of gunpowder into a cellar beneath Parliament and hid them in plain sight. Guards descended on the cellar where Guy Fawkes was hiding. As the news of the foiled plot spread, people across the country began to celebrate. And then there was Guy Fawkes, the explosives expert. So why should you care about this story? Why is it important to know about Guy Fawkes and his failed plot? So remember the story of Guy Fawkes, the man who almost blew up England.